Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley Sky. Today's video is how to navigate ground transportation. Let's get started. Okay guys, so welcome back to another video. Thank you for tuning in. So today I'm going to talk about ground transportation and how I navigate public transportation in a foreign country. When I'm out traveling in all my travel vlogs, 9 times out of 10 I'm using ground transportation in some way, shape, or form. Usually public transportation, so trains, buses, you name it. So I just want to let you guys know how I navigate all that in a foreign country. So I'm just going to go through some tips and just some little hints that you guys can use to help you navigate. I know when I'm out talking to people, a lot of people are kind of scared of traveling because they're scared they're going to get lost in a foreign country and not know their way back or anything. But don't worry, I got you covered with my tips and how I do things. You won't get lost. And I think it's just all about like courage and bravery and just going out and doing it. So just be fearless. You'll feel the fear, but just do it anyway. So let's get started with the video. Let's jump right in. So I made a list. So if I look down, I'm looking at my list so I don't forget anything, okay? This is the most important part. And it is to make sure you have a reliable, stable, strong Wi-Fi connection. Okay? So this could mean you make some kind of plan or some kind of deal up with your cell phone provider prior to going overseas to make sure you have a data plan while abroad. Make sure you check the prices on that because that can get pretty expensive. So what I do is I use a Wi-Fi device while I'm there that I can just, it's basically a Wi-Fi hotspot that I just keep on my person. So I have Wi-Fi wherever I go. So I don't have to worry about trying to connect to a cafe or connect to a McDonald's or something like that. I have a stable, reliable Wi-Fi connection on my person at all times. I do have a video about it, kind of explaining the particular Wi-Fi device I use while I'm abroad. I'll link that video up in the corner so you guys can look into that if you're interested. But this is the most important part, is to make sure you have Wi-Fi connection, okay? Okay, next, the app that I use to navigate ground transportation, I use this at home and I use it abroad, and that's Google Maps. I feel like it's pretty simple and easy to use. That's why you need to have Wi-Fi to make sure you're able to access Google Maps. Now, depending on the country you're visiting, Google Maps may or may not be accessible. I know some countries block it. For example, South Korea blocks Google Maps, so you have to use a different way of getting around town than Google Maps. I do have a video on South Korea and how I navigated it. I'll look that video up above. But yeah, I use Google Maps. It's really easy. You can just type in where you want to go, where you're at, and which kind of mode of transportation you want to use, whether it's the bus, subway, whatever, and it'll just lead you right there. It's really easy and it's really self-explanatory. So if you haven't known about Google Maps, you got to get with it because it's easy, it's quick, and it's 9 times out of 10 really accurate. So Google Maps is what I use. The country you're visiting most likely has some kind of ground transportation passes or cards to use. So for example, Japan has a Suica card. London has the Oyster card. You know, something like that. You guys know what I'm talking about. Some kind of transit card where you can top up this card and use it as your ticket or your pass. The train you will get on is usually named after the last stop on that subway line. So it's not necessarily going to be named the station that you want to be at. It's going to be named whatever the last station is on that railroad track. So you probably get off before then. So that's my next tip is once you get on the train starts moving and making the little stops, confirm on your Google Maps each station to make sure that you're on the right track. That's usually how I do it. I'll get on and I'll line up. Let's say, okay, the next station should be Purple Station. And so when I move on the train, if the next stop isn't Purple Station, that means I'm going the wrong way. So I got to get off and do something else. But if it is Purple Station, and they're like, okay, so I'm on the right track. And then the next station on my phone says, okay, next station should be Green Station. And I'm going, the next stop that we make is at Green Station. I know that I'm on the right track. So confirm as you go each way to make sure that you're on the right train. That's how I do. Because the trains are going to be most of the time the train you get on is not going to be named the station you want to be at. It's just named the last station that bus or that train or that subway is going to make. So don't let that like confuse you or scare you. Just confirm as you go. Make sure that each station that you're stopping at is lining up with the stations that Google Maps is telling you you're supposed to be hitting. As long as that lines up, you're going to end up where you're supposed to be. Does that make sense? Make sure you are aware of the student train etiquette of the country you're in, because sometimes it can differ from your home country. So for example, in Korea, there are spots for pregnant people to sit. So make sure you don't sit in that area unless you qualify. Another thing, I know in Amsterdam, some trams have a certain spot where you get on and a certain spot where you get off the train. So, be aware of that. Look around, be aware of your surroundings, and kind of go with the flow with what's going on. Don't be afraid at the stations to ask questions to the clerks that happen to be in like the little booths or anything like that. So if you have a question, even if you're in a foreign country, a lot of those people speak other languages. So don't be afraid to ask and just walk up to them, and you can say what you want to say in the country's language, or if you don't know the language, you can just say it in your own language, and most of the time they'll understand you, or they'll kind of understand you. And if not, you can just pull up Google Translate on your phone. This is why it's important to have Wi-Fi, and just type in what you want to say and let them see it. So don't be afraid to ask questions. It's okay. They get it all the time. Most of them speak the same language as you, or English. So yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions. I want to mention that I only ride the public transportation in like well-developed countries, just for safety reasons. Avoid using big paper maps. I know sometimes you can, it's unavoidable, but I try not to be that person that has the huge paper map pulled out. Because, you kind of somewhat want to blend in a little bit and kind of look like you know what you're doing. So I think the phone could be a little bit more discreet. You are having Google Maps pulled up on your phone, and you're confirming as you go to each station to make sure you're on the right track. But on my phone, I don't make it too obvious. My phone's kind of on dim, so it's not like this big bright light and everyone can see it then that's next to me. You kind of have your phone on dim, kind of have it kind of low. Don't be so obvious that you don't know what you're doing, really. Kind of just kind of go with the flow and just kind of blend in a little bit. So I try to avoid big paper maps. I know sometimes you have to look at it, so don't be embarrassed that you have to, or if you need to. But for me, I try not to bust that thing out. This is something that's really great. I've done this before. Instead of having like a big paper map, like pulled out really big, they kind of fold out quite big. I like to take a picture of it, like I'm at the station still. I'll like lay the map out and take a picture of it with my phone, and then just look at that picture on my phone while I'm on the train, so I don't have to have that big paper map out. So take a picture of the map if be a little bit more convenient for you and a little bit less obvious. So speaking of maps, don't look at maps as a whole. That will so confuse you and overwhelm you. You only need to know the tracks that you need to be getting on. So Google Maps does a great job with highlighting those areas, those tracks that you need, those lines that you need to be on. If you look at every single track and line and branch that's in existence in the whole transit system, you're gonna be so overwhelmed and confused. It's gonna be so scary, and it's just ridiculous, and you don't really need to do that. Because if you look at the map of like London or whatever, it's gonna be like, what? Like, how can I ever figure all this stuff out? But trust me, just use Google Maps and just look at the lines that you will be getting on. You don't need to look at all those other lines. They're just gonna confuse you. So just focus on what you need to do and where you need to go, and just ignore all that other stuff, okay? Don't look at the map as a whole if you can avoid it. Okay, this is a really great tip. Check and be sure, or just know, whether or not Uber or Lyft is available in the area you are going to be traveling to. I always like having this as a backup in case something goes crazy wrong and you're completely lost and it's really ridiculous. You can just easily call an Uber to come save you. So I'll just have like the name of the hotel or whatever accommodation you're using. I use Airbnb, so I usually have like the address of the place I'm staying. I have a video about navigating Airbnb. I'll link it up in the corner. But oh, and I also have a referral link to save some money off of that too. So if you're interested in Airbnb, look at my description box in that video up above to get, you know, in on that deal. But yeah, so I'll make sure I have the address, the place that I'm staying, whether that's a hotel, an Airbnb, or whatever, in the country's native language, so I can easily copy paste that into Uber and just say, hey, come get me, come save me, so then they can just take you where you need to go. Yeah, so they're more expensive than obviously the public transportation, but if you're lost, and it's okay to ask for help. When you're on the train and stuff, beware of different branches. I know in London, sometimes you go on the right track and you can be lining up, confirming your stop, and then things will kind of branch off. That just all boils down to making sure you get on the right train in the first place. You can ask for help if you need it. Just beware of branch offs. Oh, if you can, avoid rush hour, because the rush hour, there'll be a ton of people going in off the train and it'll be kind of a little bit more crazy and crowded and chaotic. So if you can avoid those times, if all possible, the times may differ depending on the country you're visiting, but if possible, it'd be kind of nice if you can avoid all that craziness, and that way things are kind of calmed down a little bit. People are not all in a rush trying to get to work or whatnot. So if you can, definitely do. So that is all of my tips I have for you today. I hope this video helped you in some way. Please like the video if you do, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do have a video on staying very safe while traveling. I'll link that in the corner up above. And I also have a video on how to stay very healthy while traveling, and I'll link that one as well. But there's a ton of videos on my channel relating to travel and things like that, all my tips and stuff. So if you like this video, I'm sure you like my other ones too. So be sure to check that out. But thanks again for watching, guys. I hope I see you in my next video, and I'll see you guys next time.